Andy, you're here now. You've had your first session with the team. How are you finding life at Macclesfield FC?
Good, yeah. Bit of a shock difference to obviously the last time I'd come here. I didn't actually sort of know too much. I know that obviously what had happened with the club and that someone had bought it, but I didn't realise that obviously they'd done as much as they actually have, to the extent they have. You know, obviously the standard off the pitch is, you know, up there with like a league club, isn't it? So, you know, that was a nice surprise, but yeah, I say it's just a bit of a added bonus. The main things, obviously, the history of the club and stuff, and, you know, training Tuesday was good. Get to see some of the lads. I can see a lot of sort of a good mix of young, athletic players, and also, you know, a few of the older ones now with a bit more experience. So, looking forward to seeing how the actual style of play will work out on Saturday.
Multiple clubs have shown interest in you recently, but what was it that brought you to the club?
I said this to obviously Robbie and the rest of the staff, that obviously I finished at Chorley because I just wasn't able to recover quick enough with work. I say I've got a building construction company, and you know, that's physical as it is, and you know, we were training training and playing 4 times at Chorley, and it just sort of caught up with me, and I ended up like falling asleep on the M6, and that's when I turned around and said, like, you know, luckily didn't crash, nothing happened, but that was just sort of me realisation that yeah, something's got to change, and obviously my work at the minute is the main one. But yeah, I'd obviously stopped, and then I had loads of clubs messaging me because obviously they'd seen I'd left Chorley, and I went to Radcliffe for a bit, and like I say, that worked out a bit where I wasn't training as much, but it's still sort of caught up with me, and I think just at the right time now, obviously they got in touch with me when work settled a bit, and you know, I felt a bit more, and obviously been missing the football side of things, and although I've spoke to like loads of clubs, loads of managers, and you know, different leagues, that it just sort of fell into place. So obviously it just felt right that they contacted me at the right time, and obviously I know everything about the club. Like Robbie was actually trying to sell me the club, and I said, listen, you know, you don't have to tell me, you don't have to try and sell me Mac. I said, I know who Macclesfield are, and I know everything about the club, so you know, it's a yeah.
You said you've played for numerous clubs in your career up to now, but how do you think these experiences will benefit you and the club moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I've had probably a lot of clubs. I don't think there's many people who've had as many clubs as I have, and you know, some people look at it as a negative that I haven't stayed in one, whereas I've always enjoyed, you know, always enjoyed it as a positive in terms of, you know, my community of people I know in football and non-league is, you know, is massive, because I've had that, you know, variety of clubs, and I've always enjoyed it, and you know, it's always, I've sort of come down the leagues, but I've always sort of been, you know, asked to clubs, and you know, been invited to different ones, and it's always felt nice when you go into a new club and like sort of a new challenge and stuff. So yeah, I'm hopefully that I can use that experience to sort of help some of the younger lads now, you know, give them advice depending on where they're at in their careers, and sort of try and use that to help obviously the club with the main goal this season, obviously promotion.
For our fans, how would you describe yourself as a striker?
As a striker, so I don't, they probably won't know that I started out as left mid for Liverpool. I was a big 6'3" left mid, and I went to obviously Stoke City, and they took one look at me and went, 6'3", big, they went, you're centre half. And so I played centre half for a bit, and it was when I went to Southport I played centre half, and you know, used to always attack, and in training I was obviously showing more signs of being an attacking player than a defensive, and it was Liam Watson who sort of moved me forward positions, and I ended up playing up front for them, and you know, doing well. And then I went to Mansfield as a left back, because I played well against them as left back, and then I ended up going back to Southport as a striker again. And then from then I just sort of realised that, look, you know, my first thought when I get the ball is, how can we score? Even if I end up playing centre back for a game, it'll be I'll get the ball and I think how can we score, and I think having played centre half for so long, I'd say the style of play I am is that I know what centre halves hate or don't want to mark or don't know. So I won't be like a normal striker that they're up against who's been brought up, doing certain movements on. I'll do the opposite of what they sort of are expecting in terms of So it'll be there'll be a lot of centre halves who sort of won't want to play against me in that sense of they'll know they're in for a game.
And finally, you've had your first training session with the team now, but how excited are you for your first game this weekend against Charnock, Richard?
Yeah, first, like anything, first day in a new job, definitely in football that you sort of gives you that extra bounce, extra stride in your step that you want to do well, and so yeah, obviously looking forward to that, and then obviously the one after that, the first home game, so they're the two I've obviously got in my mind at the minute, but yeah, definitely looking forward to it.
Perfect, thank you.
Cheers.